One of the greatest memories that I have of FarFar is when he talked to me about what it means to love another person.
FarFar always gave me money for doing push-ups. I could always do more than the boys, and that made him really proud. FarFar always used to play with me and our imaginary friend Eddie. Eddie was actually FarFar's imaginary friend.
He always, as we were growing up, he always liked to pay us money to pull our teeth for us if we had loose teeth. One time I had a really loose tooth, but I never liked to let anybody pull my teeth, and FarFar told me he would give me $50 if he let me pull my tooth. So at first I said no, but after a lot of thinking I decided it would be a pretty good deal, so I changed my mind and I approached him and let him know that I'd be up for that, but he let me know that unfortunately the opportunity had passed by and it was only $5 now. So I learned a lot about the changing state of the economy and how you should never let a good opportunity pass you by.
I remember FarFar taking the grandchildren and I to the Liberty restaurant where he would teach us conversation skills of just reaching out to everyone and be open with everyone.
FarFar taught me to love Sweden, to always spend less than I make, and to clean my car with gusto.
It's hard to just pinpoint one thing that I'll remember or that I learned from FarFar. The man was full of advice and he loved to teach, especially us.
There are many important life lessons that my grandfather taught me. Among those are some of the following: supporting family in all of the seasons of life, caring for the less fortunate, leading with your head and loving with your heart, understanding and appreciating the difference between a good job and a Rollie job, having an affinity for clean cars and loud mufflers, using your abilities and assets to serve the Lord, staying connected to your Swedish heritage, and finally, driving fast.
FarFar is always ready with some advice or some tips or a story to help me grasp the finer concepts of football. He would always be ready to get down on the floor and show me the proper technique for shedding a blocker. And he always was ready to share stories about my own dad when he played football.
Growing up, whenever we went to Moma and FarFar's house, FarFar would take us into the backyard and give us a bucket. He would ask us to pick up as many sticks as we could, and for each stick that we collected, he would give us a penny. I think it was very important for FarFar that his grandchildren knew the importance and meaning of hard work at a young age.
Well, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I was his favorite grandchild. At least that's what he always would tell me when he would have his arm around me. He would say, "This is my favorite grandchild." And then he might have added something about being the favorite that he had his arm around, but whatever.
FarFar taught me a lot. He taught me how to love his family and the people around him, how to talk to strangers. He taught me it's not what you earn, it's what you don't spend. He taught me we always can be giving more.
And FarFar was always fun, and he nicknamed me Tex, and he was slim. I always will miss FarFar. He's the best.
FarFar was a man of faith, and even in the last 2 weeks of his life, God used FarFar to touch others. One of those people was his 2-year-old great-granddaughter, Linnea.
What really touched me was seeing his example of him not letting his left hand know what his right hand was doing.
I remember him saying that people fall in and out of love all the time, but relationships that work take hard work.
I love my grandpa for so many different reasons, but I especially love his love for his grandchildren. A couple of weeks ago when I walked into his hospital room, he said to the doctor, "That's my favorite granddaughter."
When Linnea learned that FarFar had an owie, she was concerned, but what amazed me was every night she would insist that her dad or I pray for FarFar's Owie.
I believe that the kingdom of God has grown and expanded because of FarFar's witness.
I look at him and the relationships that he had with Gretchen and Janice, and I just think, man, that man, he knows how to love.
I'm sorry Sophia couldn't know him for a longer time. FarFar was very special.
What hits me the most is his commitment. Not just to people, not just to his family, but to everything he did. To his work, his faith, his church, to every single person that he met.
And he was always making you sound better than you really were, which was kind of a great aspect to have in a grandpa.
He always made me feel special.
Example, something that I think back on that I cannot believe he did for me was drive his red pickup truck across the country to Calgary, Alberta for my first year of college with all of my belongings that hardly fit into my dorm room once we got there. He and Mormor drove it all the way there and then proceeded to drive all the way back home to Libertyville, Illinois. And that was something that I don't know a lot of my friends could say that their grandparents would do for them.
And when FarFar passed away, I was able to tell her that FarFar was in heaven with Jesus and that Jesus made FarFar's Owie all better.
Hey Linnea, can you tell me where FarFar is?
Heaven.
He's in heaven? He's with Jesus in heaven?
One of my favorite things about FarFar was that he was very protective of the people in his life that he cared about and loved. In this case, especially his granddaughters. As a lot of people know, he had a black baseball bat in the back of his truck, just in case he needed to take care of anybody that messed with his granddaughters. And what meant a lot to me was that even though I lived in Oregon, as I was growing up, he always let me know that he was willing to jump on a plane with a bat if he needed to take care of anything.
And like I had seen him be generous within our family or that, but I had never heard him talk about his giving or about any of the things that he had contributed to.
One thing about FarFar that I've learned is that he would do anything for people that he loves. And a lot of times he showed his love through actions.
He made it his life work and life goal to further the kingdom and to impact people's lives with his love, which stems from the love of Christ.
I love you, FarFar, and I will miss you. I'm really gonna miss FarFar. FarFar always made everything fun. I really miss him and love him a lot. I love FarFar. I hope FarFar finds his red sports car in heaven.
He has taught us more through his actions, through the way that he treated people, than he could ever teach us.
We are all grateful for our memories of FarFar and his larger-than-life personality.
Through God's love, he would express himself and his love for others, and it was so educating to me, and I hope that I can carry on those skills through my own life.
Growing up, FarFar always challenged us and pushed us to do the best that we could. As part of that, he always gave his input and advice and insight into the situations that we were facing. But no matter what paths we chose and what decisions we made, FarFar was always there for us. He always loved us, and he was always proud to call us his grandchildren.
Throughout FarFar's life, God used him to witness to others, and I'm truly grateful that God used him to witness to my daughter.
He taught me no one is everyone is worth paying attention to.
FarFar is an inseparable part of my life and my world, especially because so much of FarFar has been poured out into others that it's hard to see where FarFar stops and other people begin. His legacy and his impact in the lives of our family and in people beyond our family is hard to really describe.
I'm thankful for him. I miss him, and I look forward to meeting him again in glory.